Michael Rapaport, actor-director, who's from New York City, directed an ESPN 30 for 30. It's called When the Garden Was Eden, about the Knicks' glory days, and it airs Tuesday, October 21st at 9 Eastern. Good to have you in studio there, Mike.
I'm glad to be here. This is a really, really, really nice studio. Like, when you guys aren't here, can I, like, rent this out to live in?
Do you imagine what this would cost, this loft in New York City? The way it is, right?
This is sick.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got a kitchen, you got ping pong, I mean, you got microphones.
Do you have a man cave?
Yeah, it's a man cave. It's probably like a little man cave. It's not like a man cave, but it's all right. It's all right.
Well, what's it, with a couple of flat screens and
Not a couple. I got one flat screen, and it's decent size. It's not like incredible. My whole house is sort of man cave-ish.
Really?
It's got man cave-ish qualities in each room.
Do you have memorabilia?
No, I don't have. I have photography, and I have a very eclectic photography collection. I love photography, and I have some great sports photographs.
Give me your favorite one.
My favorite sports photograph? Well, I have a couple of Neil Leifer.
Yeah. Sports Illustrated.
And, I mean, he's iconic, the most iconic. You have that photo right there, the Ali Liston photo.
Yeah.
I have a Ali photo before he's fighting Foreman, and it's just beautiful. And so that's probably my favorite.
Black and white?
Black and white.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's an artist.
When we're going to have you on, the Danettes all had different movie roles that they were citing with you, which I thought was pretty cool.
I appreciate that.
Now, Seton was...
Yeah, Superboy.
Yes.
Topland, man. Great
That's
role.
good. That's a good one. Good movie. Great cast. And, very exciting to be a part of it. Stallone, De Niro, Keitel, Ray Liotta, all on one set at one time. I wasn't nervous.
No,
I was calm.
But they try to drown you in a scene.
They try to drown me. And
Did they actually try to drown you?
Hell yeah, they tried to realize. I mean, it's me. Imagine me on that set, how freaked out I was. I was so excited. Peter Berg, the now famous director. They tried to drown me. They'd be like, how long can you stay on? I'd be like, 10 seconds. And then it'd be like, I'm counting 1, and then it's like 12. So let me up. Let me up. So, but that was very exciting.
But do you get to socialize with them on Copland?
Socialize? No. I mean, to be honest with you, like Robert De Niro and Sylvester Stallone, I mean, Pacino and early Travolta, but to have Robert De Niro and Sylvester Stallone, like literally within, I could hold hands with them the first day, like we did. I was having an outer body experience because those two actors are two of the most important, influential actors to me before I even started acting. I mean, Rocky was a life changer for me. When I saw it as a kid, I literally saw that movie 23 times in the movie theater. I kept wanting to go back. My mom would just drop me off for the afternoon. I'd watch it 3 times in a row. But like working with him was crazy. And he was so fun to work with because I would do lines from Rocky IV. He would do them with me. I would do Adrian lines. He would do Rocky lines. I would do Rocky lines, and he would do Paulie lines. So at one point, the director, James Mangold, was like, don't speak to him. Don't talk to him anymore. He needs to be focused. We're doing Copland. We ain't doing Rocky IV or a remake of Rocky III.
Do you think Fritzy looks like Paulie from Rocky?
They keep telling me that I look like Burt Young.
I think maybe like Burt Young before he became Burt Young. Maybe like a young
I could live
Burt
with
Young.
that.
Why don't you stand up, Fritzy, and let Michael see?
Let me see.
But you're gonna have
Fritzy.
me do my Mick.
Oh yeah, he can do Burgess Meredith.
Do
though.
it. I'll do it. Like, if you give me the right line, I'll give it right back to you.
I like my favorite line was when Agent said, "Win, Rocky, win." Well, what are we waiting for?
That was great. Rocky II, after the baby was born, the little Martian baby with all the hair.
I say you can't win. We don't want this guy. He'll knock you to tomorrow, Rock.
He'll knock you to tomorrow, Rock.
You're gonna eat lightning and crap thunder. Catch that chicken, you.
What about my prime, Mick? At least you had a prime. I'm throwing lines back at you. You're not gonna ping pong with me?
What's my next line?
I don't think.
Oh, what's my next? This guy's not a real Rocky
he's
fan.
not.
I said, what about my prime, Mick? At least you had a prime.
Yeah.
Who'd you fight last night? Spider Rico.
Nice.
You say he's a bum. I can't do Rocky. You're doing all the characters.
Okay.
They was all bums, kid.
Paulie, your favorite
role for Michael Rapaport, Dick Ritchie in True Romance. His roommate was Brad Pitt.
Pitt.
Lloyd DeStone, a great role.
Very, very, Brad Pitt. What has he done since then?
Yeah, exactly. But did you know at the time?
I knew at the time.
Be honest.
I'll tell you the truth. That's the only film that I've ever done where I knew it was going to be special. Because number one, you had this script that was circulating around town by Quentin Tarantino. And this is a time, the energy and excitement around Quentin Tarantino and his emergence after Reservoir Dogs was palpable. Yeah. I mean, you knew this was a special person that had come. And then the cast started coming together. They're like, oh, Christian Slater's playing Clarence. Cool. Patricia Arquette. Cool. Who's playing the gangster? Christopher Walken is playing that little part. Oh, cool. Who's playing, Floyd? Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt is doing that. There's only 10 lines. And then you did know. And then like Val Kilmer's playing Elvis. Are you serious? Sam Jackson's doing that small part. So there was just an excitement around it. And there was a young James Gandolfini who had never done anything. So I didn't know that 20 years later people would still talk about it. But you did know that you were doing something special. And the great Tony Scott, he just orchestrated it perfectly. So there was just, I would show up on the set just to watch other people's scenes when I wasn't working because you knew something special was happening. You never could predict that, it'll last the test of time.
Now, McLovin, which one do you have?
Well, even if I was going to say Friends as Phoebe's boyfriend, I wouldn't say that. That would not get me any street
That's all right.
credit.
That's all right.
But I would go with Beautiful Girls.
Okay, that's a good one, too. That's a good film, too.
He wants to go Friends.
That's all right. Go Friends, man. You'll be like a lot of women only come. You'd be the first man that ever singled out Friends. But that's cool. That's cool. Go with, no, but Beautiful Girls is great too. And that's something where you had an idea that it was going to be good. It was Natalie Portman's second film. She was just in The Professional. And then she decided to do this film. So you knew, The Professional was like another one. You see this person, and this is a special actress. And me and her was sort of the outcast because it was Matt Dillon, it was Rosie O'Donnell, Uma Thurman right after Pulp Fiction.
Oh, wow.
At her most beautiful. She was literally at the peak of her fame, her stardom, and her beauty. And she was so, I was intimidated by her because she was a lot taller than I ever thought. Her hands are the same size as mine. And my hands are not small. So I was just like, this is like a beauty. So, and me and Natalie Portman, she was like 12. We were just kind of like pushed to the side. So we would like, get along and like we were like hanging out and chilling out. And so she was special and it was a special cast. The great Ted Demme, late Ted Demme.
Did you think you had a shot with Uma?
I knew I had no shot.
Okay, all right.
I knew I had no shot. And to be honest with you, she was probably, on the set of True Romance, Patricia Arquette and Uma Thurman were the two actresses I've literally been like the beauty and just the star power.
I keep telling these guys, Patricia Arquette is hot.
Patricia Arquette in True Romance it doesn't get much smoking.
Yes.
Smoking.
Did you think you had a shot with her there?
Not at all.
You remember the first Knicks game you went to?
The first Knicks game I went to, it was probably 1980 or 81. My father took me and my friend Scott Hochberg to a Knicks Philadelphia 76ers game, and Dr. J was on the Sixers. And at the time, Dr. J was like Superman to me. I loved him. And this is when the Garden, you could smell the illegal drugs being smoked. And it wasn't as tight security-wise. So we had like mid-level seats, and my father was like, we're gonna sneak down. He was like, go ahead. He could care less. My father, I was such a pain in the butt that anytime I would give him a break, he'd just go, knock yourself out. You want to take a train by yourself? Go ahead. Because it was just relief for him. But he was like, go ahead. So we walked around the Garden, and we snuck down to the beginning, to the front row, and got to watch Dr. J go through his layup line, and he had the knee braces and the high socks, and I'll never forget that.
Well, this is before Bird and Magic and Michael, obviously, and I tell people that if you saw Dr. J in the ABA, then you saw something that we'd never seen before.
Right.
There have been great athletes, but what he did in the ABA, he was violent. He was so devastatingly great.
Wow, you saw him play live?
Yeah, I saw him play against the Kentucky Colonels. And I just remember he was so explosive, and his hands were so big.
Yeah.
And he would just come through the air floating, and he just sort of he would pick and choose and he had the big afro.
Yeah, he's one of the coolest looking athletes. Yes. And just Dr. J is so humongously iconic. I mean, it's like he's close behind Muhammad Ali in terms of class, style, his look, just the whole thing. I mean, he's iconic. And so to see that was a big deal. So that was the first game I'm pretty sure I went to.
Okay, so why the documentary? What comes out of this? If somebody wasn't there to appreciate this, what are they going to take away from this documentary?
Oh, man, you take away so much. I mean, for me, always heard about these Knicks teams. And to be honest, when I was a teenager, you're sort of cynical. You're like, these guys weren't as cool as these current Knicks. I'm talking about the 80s Knicks with Bernard King and Hubie Brown was the coach and Patrick Ewing. And then in the 90s, you're like, these guys, we're going to do it. And then we never did it. And it's been a painful ride. And then you start to think back, well, these guys did it. How did they do it? And for me, it was an exploration about the old Knicks, the old Madison Square Garden, the new Madison Square Garden being developed. And essentially, the most exciting thing that came out of that team, there's many things, the personalities, the characters, but before those New York Knicks won, the NBA was a mom and pop league. It wasn't even as popular as college basketball. It wasn't Major League Baseball. It wasn't NFL.
Well, they'd have the NBA Finals on tape delay. And I mean, the Knicks would get pushed out of Madison Square Garden when the circus came, and they'd play at the Armory, so it wasn't a big deal. But when that team won in New York, and it was the Madison Avenue madmen were watching it, and with those characters and the drama of the Here Comes Willis moment and the Walt Clyde Frazier of it all, the NBA became what it is now. It became like a hot ticket. Because it was in New York.
Because it was in New York. Because before that, who cared? It was in Boston. And the only people that cared were Boston fans. And they were so dominant. And so just learning about the characters.
But you realize what we had in New York? You had the Jets winning a Super Bowl. You had the Mets winning a World Series. And then you had this Knicks teams. The Rangers were good back then, too. So this was the epicenter if you were looking at all the sports.
Yeah.
The Jets winning the Super Bowl, helped pave the way for the merger with the NFL.
Right.
The Mets, one of the great underdog stories of all time.
Right.
And then you had the Knicks with playing basketball in the purest sense of teamwork that we've probably ever seen.
Or, I think the cousins of the 1970-73 New York Knicks are the current San Antonio Spurs. There's no one star. It's completely selfless. It's only about team. And they bought completely into a system. And it's similar to the way the Lakers were at that time. They were the bad guys. And if you looked at, in my opinion last year, the Miami Heat, they were the bad guys. And this small San Antonio team that no one talks about, no one's talking about now, we're on the LeBron bandwagon. We're on the Kevin Durant bandwagon. We're on the Kobe bandwagon. And at the end of the season, unless some injuries, San Antonio is going to be back. So when the Knicks took on the big, bad Los Angeles Lakers in 1970, and you didn't see the games like you see them now. So they were like the bad guys. It was like, oh, my God, that's Wilt Chamberlain. That's Elgin Baylor. Jerry West was an assassin. I mean, this guy was a cold-blooded killer. And when we played them, we were the underdog. And then when Willis went down, it was like, we're going to get killed. And then the way he came out.
But the guy who got overshadowed was Clyde Frazier.
Yes.
Clyde had one of the greatest championship games in NBA history.
Absolutely.
Maybe it's like 36 points, 19 assists, like 6 steals.
Almost a triple-double.
Yeah.
And then, but he got overshadowed, and Willis won the drama, so he won the MVP.
He hit 2 hoops, big, and kind of, I think made Wilt go into a fetal position there.
Completely. And one of the most exciting, interesting things about when I did the film was interviewing Jerry West, who I know can be a tough interview, but when we talked about that series, this 71-year-old man.
Oh, he's extremely competitive.
It was like he was reliving it. At first he was kind of joking around. By the end of the interview, he got up and he had left. He had post-traumatic stress syndrome when we talked about that series. It was like he relived it. And he didn't want to talk about it anymore. He answered all the questions, but it makes for a great interview because he was like, in the film, he becomes the antagonist. Because when I asked him about Wilt Chamberlain, he's like, I can't tell you about Wilt Chamberlain. I never knew what was going on in his head. And he just resented, and his take on the Willis Reed coming out moment is so much different than everybody else's take because it's folklore and he knows that it's folklore. And he was like, I felt sorry for him. He was hobbling around out there this is all in the movie. So it was just a great exploration, and it was fun to kind of, learn about what made that team special and the characters and it's a very New York centric film. It's not just about the Knicks, it's about the development of the NBA.
It's When the Garden Was Eden. It's Tuesday, October 21st at 9 Eastern. I'll leave you with this. Would you drink Amari Stoudemire's red wine bathwater if it meant the Knicks would make the playoffs?
Drink Amari Stoudemire's. He was already in it.
Yeah.
He's been in the bath.
Yeah.
For how long has he been in the bath? How long has he soaked?
30 minutes.
Yeah. As much as I need and want those Knicks to win, I'm gonna have to pass on that.
Are you kidding? You call yourself a Knicks fan?
I mean, maybe you got to call up some other guys. There's other Knicks fans that might drink it. Do I get to use a straw or do I got to just chug it?
Your choice.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I could hook you up to an IV.
Oh, it could be like a drip.
Yeah, it could be.
That I'll consider like an IV drip of Amari Stoudemire's wine. And his bath water.
He's still
Wait,
in
time
it.
out. It's not his bath of wine. I don't get to drink his, because he took a bath in wine.
Yes.
So it's that.
Yeah.
It's not his just regular bath water.
No. His
wine bath water.
Yeah.
Do I get the IV drip? Like, can I get it?
And he's in it while you're drinking it.
Is he nude or
Yes.
is he? Oh my goodness! See, now you're making it more enticing. You didn't tell me he was nude. So I get to. Okay, all right. Can I be in the bath, like spooning it to myself? If I could be in the bath with him and I could like give myself.
You're right behind him.
And I got 2 cups.
Yes.
You're making it more. It's made more enticing as it goes along.
The documentary is When the Garden Was Eden. He's Michael Rapaport. You're welcome back here anytime.
Oh man, it's a real pleasure.
Thank you.